Hello, my name is Gary and welcome to TechBites. Enterprises have been eager to adopt AI technologies, and the successful release of ChatGPT has only fueled this desire. The question that everyone wants to know is, can we develop our own ChatGPT? If you ask this question at the beginning of 2023, I'd probably say that the complexity of training a model and the high cost of doing so make it impractical. But to my surprise, breakthroughs in the AI field are moving fast. AI researchers have contributed to the development of more accessible AI models. Notably, Stanford researchers introduced Alpaca, a low-budget language model that replicates the behavior of ChatGPT. With that, I can now answer that yes, it is feasible to develop your own ChatGPT. So what does it mean by developing your own ChatGPT? It means you're building and training a large language model. In short, LLM. LLM learns from billions of natural language data and is trained to execute language-oriented tasks. In this video, we'll learn the difference between centralized LLM and open-sourced LLM. We'll see how they impact the advancement of AI models, and then we'll study the rise and fall of Alpaca to understand the factors in an AI system lifecycle. So let's start with the basics. The major factor in developing an LLM is cost. It requires a significant amount of resources, primarily computing power. Previously, the computing power of creating and running an efficient language model like GPT-3 could cost tens of millions of dollars, and the training time could take weeks or even months. So the cost and time required to develop a ChatGPT-like model was not feasible for all enterprises. OpenAI has significantly lowered the barrier for using large language models. By simply calling the API, users can get their hands on AI capabilities without having to worry about the underlying complexities. The API acts as a bridge between the user and the model behind ChatGPT, enabling you to make use of LLM capacity with ease. The key point here is that OpenAI's GPT model is a centralized LLM. Centralized LLMs are developed and maintained by a single organization, and it's the same as outsourcing to a third-party vendor. The vendor has the expertise, infrastructure, and resources to provide the service, and the user can use the service by placing an order. Whilst it is convenient, it also means that you have limited control over the functions of the model and data privacy, and what's more, using a centralized LLM causes dependency on the provider, which could be a huge risk if the provider discontinues or modifies their service. An alternative to centralized LLM is open source LLM. Open source LLM provides the building blocks for creating an AI system, including the code and data needed to train your own model. It's like in-house development as opposed to employing a third-party service. You can build your own model tailored to your own specific needs, and it gives you full ownership of the AI model, which allows for more transparency and flexibility. Developing your own language model requires more investment up front, but provides greater control in the long run. So did I get you all excited? Before you go on to building your own ChatGPT, you need to understand the concept of pre-trained and fine-tuned. Open source LLM provides a solid foundation for model development, and these foundational models are trained beforehand on a vast amount of data, so they have outstanding performance in understanding and generating text. It's both a pro and con, because these foundational models are designed for generic purposes. Imagine a person reading all the books in the world. This person would be incredibly smart, but just book smart, lacking technical savvy. This is where fine-tuning comes in. Fine-tuning is to adapt a model to fit specific tasks using a smaller custom data set. So think of it as the book-smart person going through specialized training to become an expert for a specific job. By fine-tuning a base model, you can personalize the AI system to achieve better accuracy and relevance. For example, a financial institution can fine-tune an open-source base model with fraud case data to develop a fraud alert model. In this instance, conventionally, the company would perhaps hire an elite graduate student and supply them with training resources, expecting them to become a top-notch fraud regulator. Now, do you think it's more efficient to train a talent or to train a language model? And this brings us back to the question, is it feasible to develop our own ChatGPT? In fact, ChatGPT is a fine-tuned model tailor-made to comply with human instructions and speak in a conversational tone. According to a report released in January 2023 by ARC Investment Management, the cost of using AI training tools that can train language models to GPT-3 level performance dropped significantly from $4.6 million in 2020 to $450,000 in 2022. And that's a staggering 70% cost reduction per year. Based on ARC's prediction, such AI training cost would be reduced to just $30 by 2030. Can you imagine? In 7 years, the cost of training a ChatGPT-like AI model would be equivalent to a bottle of wine. But there's a plot twist. In March 2023, Stanford University researchers at the Center for Research on Foundation Models released Alpaca. Alpaca is a fine-tuned model that has ChatGPT level performance. And guess what? The Stanford researchers claimed that it only cost $600 and 3 hours of training to reproduce ChatGPT level performance in Alpaca. The fact that $600 was enough to pull off the project was groundbreaking. So let's take a look at how the Stanford researchers managed to produce Alpaca. As mentioned earlier, the language model behind ChatGPT was designed to follow instructions. However, it is closed source, meaning researchers can't study the model's inner workings. It had been difficult for researchers to work on the instruction-following models. Stanford researchers overcame this problem by pulling together an open source-based model and fine-tuning it with instruction examples. It became feasible thanks to Meta's release of their open source LLM called Llama. In February 2023, Meta made their state-of-the-art foundational model open source. Llama provides a low-cost alternative to develop or fine-tune a scalable model which is task-specific. Using this open source-based model, Stanford researchers can readily produce a high-performance instruction-following model. Now, do you see the benefit of open source large language models? It enables low-budget model training, which is a critical factor in pushing the development of more intelligent and reliable AI models. While the release of an open source LLM like Meta's Llama paves the way for democratizing AI models, the release of Stanford's Alpaca is a milestone proving the point. Having access to a foundational model is the first step in developing your own ChatGPT. The next step is fine-tuning. Both factors are equally crucial to the performance of the final model. OpenAI's ChatGPT is good at understanding instructions because they hired people to tell the model what to do and checked how well it did. This human input made ChatGPT very human-like. But with a limited budget, Stanford researchers cannot do this. Instead, they used OpenAI's GPT model to generate a large dataset of instruction-following demonstrations. Essentially, OpenAI's human effort was transferred into a high-quality dataset that helped Stanford researchers to reproduce the same effect. Without the luxury of hiring people, Stanford used the self-instruct method to equip Alpaca with the same instruction-following capability. So isn't it fascinating? Researchers can take existing AI systems and stack them on top of each other to produce their own AI systems. In Alpaca's case, just $500 was spent calling OpenAI's API to generate the instruction dataset, and $100 was spent on the cloud's computing service that powered the 3 hours of model training. AI Stack marks the beginning of liberating AI development. With the right knowledge and resources, you have a chance at building your own ChatGPT. You should keep in mind, however, that development of an AI model is just the first step in an AI system lifecycle. Maintaining and improving the AI system remains challenging in the ongoing AI system lifecycle. Unfortunately, the Alpaca Live application was taken down 1 week after its release. There are 3 main factors leading to Alpaca's short-lived lifecycle: rising costs, hallucinations, and safety concerns. But hold on, Gary. Didn't you just say that the researchers spent only $600 on Alpaca? Well, that's only the cost of getting Alpaca to work. Once the Alpaca application went live, costs were incurred in running, hosting, and maintaining the system. Stanford researchers used low-power machines such as Raspberry Pi computers and a Pixel 6 smartphone, in contrast to Microsoft's multi-million-dollar supercomputers. Nonetheless, the rising costs led to the team's decision to take down the live application. The second factor leading to Alpaca's failure was hallucination. AI hallucinations are where a generative AI application gives false information or makes up a fact that does not exist. This phenomenon is a common issue in AI models. Companies like OpenAI try to prevent hallucinations by continuously monitoring and controlling the AI system. But for the Stanford researchers, the hallucination problem in Alpaca got so out of hand that the team decided it should not be interacting with public users. The third factor is safety concerns. Deploying an open source AI application has risks. It can bring about harmful content and enable things like spam, fraud, or give false information. Although the Stanford researchers implemented a content filter and alert system, it was not enough to mitigate the risks of running Alpaca live. To uphold safe and ethical use of AI systems, the live Alpaca application was removed from public site. This illustrated the many concerns when you're developing your own ChatGPT. Yes, it's true that building AI models has become more achievable, but the ongoing challenges in the AI system lifecycle must also be planned and managed. Despite the failure, Alpaca was an exciting project in the ever-evolving landscape of AI research. Undoubtedly, Alpaca has had a ripple effect in the development of open source LLM. Researchers are eager to develop more advanced and high-performance LLM that can run locally on a computer. There are 3 prominent model releases emerging from this wave. They are Dolly by Databricks, Cerebras-GPT by Cerebras, and GPT-for-all by Nomic AI. They all claim to give ChatGPT-like performance. They learn from the experience of preceding AI research and enjoy the benefits of open source LLM development. Each model release marks a new footprint in the AI landscape. This collaborative approach to AI development is bound to liberate AI systems and inspire more applications. By the time you're watching this video, there might have already been countless releases of exceptional AI models. I'm Gary, and thank you for watching. See you next time.